I did. Okay. And we are live.
Yes.
For y'all. Welcome to the Discovery Within podcast, where we explore the depths of self-discovery and personal growth. I'm your host, Tiarra Denise.
And I'm your co-host, LJ the Peacemaker. And today in episode 13, we are going to be talking about establishing a healthy relationship with the unknown. And I mean, with all the uncertainty going on in the world and just in life in general, it's a good topic to be talking about today.
Yes, yes. So whether you're joining us now or you catching the playback, let us know where you tuning in from. Um, Join the conversation. Let us know if anything resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because we want to hear from you too. So we're gonna get into it. Like you said, the this topic I think is very, crucial, especially with today's time and how things are, rapidly changing. Um, I know there's like a shift in the world, and they're saying when people be like, things aren't like they used to be back in the day. And then like you hear that so much, but it's like, well, y'all know that that's not how life works. Everything is not supposed to remain the same. It's like that for a reason. Times change. And that's how life works. And so I think just that knowing in itself, that truth should, help people to accept, the unknown when it, comes along because, the unknown is uncertain and it can be scary, especially for us as humans, because we like to control things. We want to control everything in our lives, but the truth is we really don't have much of any control. Like we have control over our response to life, our reactions, attitudes, and like you said, our minds, but when it comes to outside forces and unexpected things, whether it's coming from other people or just life itself, we don't have any control over that. But I'm noticing that like, with a lot of us, and even with us still too, because we go through it too, when it comes to, stepping out into the unknown, no matter what it is, it can be scary because like I said, we want that control. We try to plan things, whether it be for our life, whether we got goals or something, and we think, oh yeah, I don't plan it out, so I have this security. And that's essentially what we're looking for. We just want to feel safe and secure, but that's not how life works. So we can plan these things, but you have to be honest. How often does everything go as planned when you're planning things? And
Never.
exactly, exactly. So just that knowing in itself and that acceptance that this is how life is, it's inevitable. Like the unknown, that's how life works. Life is spontaneous. We speak about this all the time. Uncertain things happen. You could be here today and gone tomorrow. You sometimes you can't even foresee that. That's how it works. But I think sometimes when, it comes to the uncertain things, it catches us by surprise because we feel like we're not prepared for certain things that may come about in our lives and stuff. Because I know, like death is something that happens often, and a lot of people, I've noticed how they may have lost a loved one, and it puts them in this state of shock because it's something that's unexpected. It's something that was unknown. You didn't know that it was going to happen, but the truth of the matter is that's inevitable. Things like that happen. We just don't know the day. We don't know the hour, and it doesn't just fall with death. It's with anything. Like the unknown, it is scary, but it takes courage to walk in it because that's how life is set up, and it's really to help you on your journey so that you can personally develop and grow. But I know I probably got plenty of stories of some unknown events that probably have scared me. But what about you? Have you had like any particular stories where you had to face the unknown and it was scary? You thought you weren't going to be able to make it through?
Girl. I'm like, I live in the unknown. So I'm just learning how to like navigate what this whole life experience, recognizing that everything is unknown. We really don't know nothing. We want to be so in control of everything. Meanwhile, majority of us are completely out of control. It's like,
Yeah.
so really recognizing that the unknown is a given. That's probably the most sure thing, is the unknown, which that's like a paradox, because it's like, how is it sure and how is it unknown? But it's for sure that you don't
Mm-hmm.
know what's about to happen next. You don't know what's going to happen later. You know, a lot of the time we don't even know what we're about to do next. Somebody presses the right button, you might shock yourself. So it's really about us really honing in on the things that we do have control over, which is ourself. And like you said, our responses to situations, recognizing that that's where our power lies. And the more that we work on ourselves and really embark on this self-discovery journey, the more that we're able to respond in the way that we want, so that we can always be sure of the direction we're going in. You know what I mean? Because we cannot control circumstances. We can't control the outcomes of situations, but
Mm-hmm.
we can make a decision to go in a certain direction, and we can train ourselves in such a way that we ensure we keep going there no matter what happens. You know what I mean? That's it. It's like I'm. We're here on this podcast. We're both coaches. We're working on our businesses, our purpose in life, and that's set. Like, we've set that as the target that we're aiming for. And so, in spite of what may happen on any given day, what may have happened yesterday, what's happening today, when we get up tomorrow, that's the same target we're going towards and the same direction that we're heading. So it's
Mm-hmm.
really about recognizing that these are the things you have control of, the direction that you're facing, the choices that you're making, the way that you're going to respond to situations, because anything outside of ourselves, we don't have control of it. And it's like, ultimately, ourselves, are uncertain as well. And I mean, I say that with regards to, if you really look at, like, this is the Discovery Within podcast. You would not have to discover within if you knew what it was. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like really recognizing that even ourselves, there's this unknown component. We're learning ourselves every day. We're
Yeah.
growing, we're changing, we're evolving. So it's like everything is involved in this constant process of growth, of change, of evolution. And we have to really learn to embrace it. Otherwise, we're resisting the natural order and the natural flow of things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, go with the flow. You know what I mean? And we hear these sayings, oh, I'm in the flow. I want to be in the flow. And it's like, that's the flow. It's moving, it's flowing, it's changing. Sometimes it's a harsh wind, sometimes it's a gentle breeze.
Yeah.
We got to learn to ride it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that's how it works. And that's just the truth. And I feel like with total acceptance of, how life works, that can kind of alleviate some of that, that pressure or that fear when it comes to the unknown. Because when you accept something for what it is, you have no need to control it. And that in itself can be like freeing, because that's what it's about. When you accept the unknown for what it is, it can be freeing to you, because now you don't have the need to control, because it's enough to want to control yourself and all this other stuff. Now you trying to control something you don't have control over. That's putting a lot of pressure on yourself instead of allowing life to happen how it flows. Because like you said, it ebbs and it flows. Like, you're gonna have your highs, you're gonna have your lows. It's like you gotta ride the wave. And that's just how it is. Like, to be straightforward and frank about it. You can't really escape it. But like, we know change isn't always easy, because sometimes we get used to a certain thing, and with wanting that control and having our life set up a certain way and having that security. Okay, that's one thing. But in order for you to grow and actually reach the goals of what you want and to actually stabilize your foundation, you're going to have to go through different things, through different changes, different circumstances. And so knowing that when these circumstances they arrive, it's not to make you push back or to do any harm to you or anything like that. Anything that happens, regardless of the circumstance, is actually there to propel you forward. It's like a blessing in disguise to help you to get to where you need to be. Because one thing about it, we said life is constant, it's changing, it's about evolution. So for the people that say things just need to go back to how they used to be, no, they don't. That's not how life works. It can go back, so you have those moments where things, kind of go back to how it was in the past, but essentially it's still going to go through these cycles where things change. And like that's how life works. And if that's how life works, then that means that's how you work as a human. Like we're all here to evolve. So if we're here and we're just being sitting ducks and just letting life happen, because regardless of what we do or how we show up, the world around us and life is going to keep going. And it's like either you step up, you deal with it, you go into it, or it's going to be at your front door. And sometimes some of us have to, really learn the hard way. It's like, okay, you don't want to take that step forward, you don't want to take that leap, then something essentially happens to push you. Some of us need that extra push. And that's why a lot of us sometimes we learn the hard way when it comes to facing the unknown. But it's like life is an adventure. So you got to treat it like that. And for me, what helped me is learning to, look at it as an adventure. Because like we said, this is the Discovery Within podcast. The word discovery in itself is self-explanatory. You're here to discover things about yourself. You're going to bump into some things, and that's how you learn. But, as you embrace the uncertainties, we know that uncertainty is certain. And you have to be okay with that. And for me, I just treat life like an adventure. And me, I love to have fun. So it's like if you're gonna be here and you want to be happy and you want to live a life that's balanced, that's full of balance, of joy and fulfillment, then you have to learn how to, what's that word? Collaborate. I think it's another word I want to use, but for lack of better terms, collaborate. You got to be one with how life moves. So if life is going this way, then you just ride that wave, whichever way it flows. But it's like when we want to control something or the circumstances outside of us, we create this resistance. And it's like that's what keeps us stagnant because we're trying to, pull back and like, push instead of just going with the flow and letting things happen, because whatever happens outside of us that we didn't have control over, you just let it happen. Easily
Right.
like give up that control. And it's like the sooner we give up the control and control what we can, which is how we respond, how we react, and the attitudes that we have when the uncertain things happen, then the better our lives will be, the better we can navigate the change. Because when you're trying to control it, there's no way through it. So now you like resisting instead of like letting it flow. Like you have to grow through things to get through them. So that's something that's helped me on the journey.
Absolutely. And I mean, you mentioned resistance, and it's like, I think it's from Star Wars where it says resistance is futile. Resistance is futile. You can't resist the natural progression of change. And so, granted, we all encounter resistance because we have certain expectations and we expect things to go a certain way. And when it's changing all of a sudden, we all resist a little bit. But it's for us to, be quick about our adaptability and start to change with what's changing, So it's like the change arises, the uncertainty, and you're like, wait, hold on, what's going on? And then once you realize, oh, everything's turning left, okay, so let me turn left with it, as opposed to resisting, because you
Mm,
can't resist. It's still turning left. If you trying to stay where you were while everything else is moving, that's called stress. Like you're creating stress for yourself, stress, tension, inner turmoil, and fighting a losing battle when you could be using that effort to progress in the way that you want to go. You know what I mean? So really recognizing that everything is useful, and as change arises, like you mentioned, it's for your benefit. It's for you to use your creativity, your energy to figure out, okay, how can I use this? What is this teaching me? How can I grow through it? What's the next step? All right, I thought I was going to go here. How can I pivot? What's the next move? And so that's how we allow it to become an exciting adventure, recognizing as you practice these skills that, oh, no matter what happens, I could figure out how to pivot. So I don't have to be afraid of the change because I've learned that I'm equipped to navigate it, whatever it is. It don't mean I like it. It don't mean it's fun. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not. And really recognizing that, yeah, change brings up fear. Uncertainty brings up fear. But faith is also all about the unknown. Faith is also about uncertainty. It's believing and hoping for something that you can't see. So no matter, whether we feel in control of a situation or we feel like we don't have control, we always have the capacity to choose faith, to choose to believe in a positive outcome, to choose to believe that this is going to work out in my favor and that it's a blessing in disguise, because sometimes those blessings be so in disguise that that you'll be like, wait, I don't know what's going on, And sometimes in those moments, we just got to sit down and hold tight. Like sometimes there's not necessarily something for you to do. Sometimes you got to just process your feelings. Like, okay, everything is changing around me and it's so scary. I don't know what to do. So let me just like make sure I'm okay right now. And sometimes that's how you navigate the change and the uncertainty, by really just honoring yourself and being honest with how you really feeling about it. Because a lot of time, we go into this resistance like, oh no, I'm gonna fix this, or I'm gonna make it right, or oh no, I'm not scared. I'm not never letting nothing scare me. And it's like, you're lying. Like, you're terrified. You know what I mean? Accept it and allow it to be an experience that you go through. Because if you don't allow yourself to go through it, then you don't get to the other side. And really recognizing that like miracles and amazing possibilities exist in the unknown. Those are part of the unknown, And we all want to believe that something great can happen for us. And I mean, God says that he could surpass our wildest imagination. So that means you can't even comprehend like how great things can get. And these are all other aspects of the unknown that oftentimes we don't really look at. We steady focused on the uncertain part, the part that's scary, but what about the infinite possibilities that exist? As we turn our focus to that, then we can start getting excited about it, because just as much as this looks like it's not going to work out is just as much as it could in such a miraculous way that I'm totally never the same again.
Exactly. Welcome in to everyone that's joining in. Feel free to join the conversation because we do like to engage with you. But as you was talking, all I could think about was like video games. I don't know if you played any like video games growing up, but I did. I used to love playing video games. 007. We had a Nintendo 64. I used to love playing 007. And it made me think about all the different missions on there. You got one level, then you go on to the next mission. Now each mission is something new. The levels that go up. And so that's essentially what life is like. That's what the unknown is like. You go through one thing, you go to the next phase. And that's how it works. But like you said, it's scary because you don't know what's next. But just think about it, when you're playing your favorite video game, you're excited about, playing, and you don't know what the next mission is like, but you're looking forward to seeing how you're going to do it, how you're going to conquer it. So as long as you have like that winning attitude and that winning mindset, when you're stepping into the unknown, there's nothing that you can do. There's no limits to what you can do as long as you keep going. But sometimes we go through these different levels and we see something that seems like a challenge and it seems scary, and we're like, oh, what's my next move? But it's essentially there for you to, grow and figure those things out, because you're gonna get through it, but you just still have to be moving, because one thing about you're not gonna get to the other side if you don't go through it. It's about facing your fear. So it's like, think about the adrenaline rush you have when you're on to your next mission while you're playing the game, and then you actually get through it and conquer it. And then you look back like, man, that was tough. But you did it. You got through it. So just having that mindset when you're approaching it, and it's really your mindset and your attitude when you're approaching the unknown, because we don't know necessarily what's going to happen next. Sometimes you just have to keep on going and flowing and moving through life, and then you bump into things. And just like for both of us, with us taking the entrepreneurship route, that was stepping into the unknown. Like when you leave 9 to 5, now you're trying to pursue entrepreneurship. That's like a whole game of unknown right there. Because I know for me, stepping into it, because I thought I was gonna be a nurse. I thought I had my mind made up. I was gonna be secure. I'm going to school, get this nursing degree, and I'm good. But it's like as you grow and you evolve, your mind changes, you change, you're not even the same person anymore, and then you just and that's all unknown to you because you're beginning to meet yourself on all different levels. And then you look and you're like, man, what is going on? I don't wasted all this time, I don't did all this now to just switch up and change. And that's how life happens when you're in the unknown. Stuff happens just like this. Your mind can change. But I had to learn how to embrace it, because when I first started my entrepreneurship journey, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I just knew I didn't want to work for nobody else. I wanted to work for myself. If I'm gonna work hard for someone else, making them rich, I might as well put all that energy into myself. But I didn't have a clue. And so I was seeking, I was in the unknown. I did not know what I was gonna do. And then opportunities were presented to me as I moved about in the world. And that's how I came into, I started doing life insurance. I did that first. But then even with that, it was scary for me because that was a new territory, because now most of the workload is on me. It's on me to get myself to where I want to be now, because when you working at 9 to 5, things are certain. You got a building to come to, you got your set schedule, you got a guaranteed paycheck. But when entrepreneurship comes, that's a whole different ball game. Nothing is certain. No, nothing is certain. Sometimes even when you're putting in the work. But and I often wonder, like, why am I in the financial industry though? But it's like my spirit, my soul was pulling me towards this place. Like, you said you wanted this, so let's explore this. And that's what it became. It became an adventure. It was something I was exploring, but while I was doing it, I was accepting of the unknown. And then I learned so much. And I did it for about 2 or 3 years. And then I made my transition to coaching, because I knew my passion was always to, help people on a soul level and connect with others. But I at first I did not see, like, how does life insurance, the financial industry even coincide with what I really want to do. But then but now looking back, I see that I had to go through that phase doing something different in order to build me up, to give me the skills that I need, that in order for me to be the coach that I am today. So I'm looking back at the unknown like, oh, okay, so that adventure I went on right there, it was preparing me for this. And then as you continue to go on, you're going to bump into a lot of other things. I know for me, I said I wanted to have some divine connections and collaborations this year. And who knew that just by me being on TikTok, scrolling, putting my content out there, I would meet you. And
Right.
now you sparked up the conversation. We had a conversation, we met, and bam, now we got a podcast. That was stepping into the unknown. You didn't know me from a can of paint. I didn't know you from a can of paint. But look at how just stepping out there into that unknown, bumping into people, meeting people, trying different things, new things that are scary, and the greatness that can come about just from you allowing life to happen. Because I can honestly say that this is a divine connection.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. It's so interesting because, as you were speaking, what was coming to mind is how, like, life makes sense backwards. So meaning that, like, you don't really know what's happening while you're going through it, but when you look back, then it all makes sense. It's like, wow, I had to go through that so that I could get there, and then there led me to
Mm,
here. And it's like really beginning to trust that that's how it works. So it's like we don't know exactly what's happening in the moment, but later we'll see the fruits of our labor. And we all talk about reaping what you sow and things of that nature, and we all want to reap this harvest, but recognizing that the harvest is unknown. Granted, you can plant particular seeds, but you don't know what the harvest is going to look like. You don't know the magnitude of it. You don't know the impact or the ripple effect that it's going to create. So it's really about us beginning to embrace these things that it's all unknown and it's all okay. The unknown is not something for us to be afraid of or to resist. It's actually a major part of life, and we have to be willing to embrace it. And I mean, on this journey of self-discovery, I'm learning more and more that everything's unknown. Like, I don't even know myself. Like, that's what this is about. I'm learning myself every day, and I'm learning it through experiences that arise, which are unknown. I didn't know that was going to happen. Now I'm facing it, and I'm getting to learn different aspects of myself, see which parts I like, see which parts I'd like to grow in, certain areas, and really just continuing forward. And also, I mean, for me, it's like I feel like part of my mission is to understand life so I can share these mindset shifts and share how we can navigate it, more efficiently and feel more of a sense of control of ourselves, not
Mm-hmm.
of circumstances, but more so of ourselves. And I'm coming into the understanding more and more that this is just something that's in me. Like, I'm not reading books. Well, granted, I read books. I love reading books. I love reading the Bible. But I'm not learning these skills from books. I'm learning them from facing the unknown, living it out, and these understandings are coming out of me.
Mm-hmm.
So that even in and of itself is unknown, because a lot of times I don't even know something until I say it. And then I'm like, wait, what? Oh, wow. You know what I mean? So really recognizing like there's this divine plan at play that we get to be a part of, but we have to align with it and get into the flow of it, and
Mm-hmm.
recognizing that we're not gonna know. You know what I mean? Scripture says that God is guiding our steps. That
Mm-hmm.
means each time you're about to take a step, you're being told, okay, step to the left, move to the right. There is no buffer period where you get to know it beforehand. It's like, no, you know what I mean? And additionally, that's what intuition is all about. Like,
Yes.
you walk in, you're talking, you feel the vibe, something says don't go there, and then you just listen. That's all aspects of the unknown. And oftentimes, with our own intuition, we don't know why it's telling us that. We learn later. We see later when we look back, oh, it was because of that. Thank goodness I didn't go over there, because then I would have been involved in this or whatever the case. But really recognizing that, like, there is this unseen aspect to life. Everything that we can see are physical manifestations of the part that we can't see. So we have to be willing to establish a certain degree of trust with the unseen aspects. You know what I mean? Because you figure our thoughts, our feelings, all these things are unseen, and they're
Mm-hmm.
what manifest into the physical reality.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, if we don't learn to really maneuver and to manage these unseen components, which are unknown, to some degree, then we will never be able to really navigate the physical realm efficiently. Like, we
Mm-hmm.
have to get comfortable knowing that the building blocks are invisible. You know what I mean? It's like, even scripture defines faith as the unseen substance of things hoped for. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, it's a substance, but we can't see it. And that's unknown, that's uncertain. But that's what's creating what will happen next, how we're believing, how we're approaching things, our mindset, your perspective. These are not necessarily tangible things that are definite and concrete, but they are real. So it's like really giving this I guess validity to things that are intangible, but not thinking that they're not real. They are real. These are the building blocks of what we can be sure of. You know what I mean? So if every day we keep moving in a certain direction, like you and I were working to, really just share these skills, share these insights, and inspire, empower, encourage people, and we're consistently moving in that direction,
Mm-hmm.
we know for sure we're going to get there. You know
Yep.
what I mean? It's like the uncertainty has, I don't want to say has been totally removed, but we're certain that we're going to get there because we're not going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
However, the the uncertainty on a day-to-day basis still exists. You know what I
Yes.
mean? I don't know that today I'm going to get a client. I don't know that tomorrow I'm going to, but what I do know is that I'm going to get where I say I'm going by faith,
Mm-hmm.
by this like invisible, this energy, this effort, this belief that I'm using to point in that direction. And, that's what really gives us this control in the uncertainty. We can't control the circumstance, but we can control the daily seeds that we're planting to create the harvest, to create what we're believing for, and recognizing that, like, we don't have to be afraid. Just as we could be afraid, we could also be hopeful. And we
Yeah,
get to choose. We get to choose which one we operate in.
yeah. So when you said that, it made me think about that saying, people fear what they don't know. And that's true because the things that you don't know, that you're not certain about, or you feel like there's no guarantee, you don't even want to look that way or go towards it. But it's like facing your fear instead of just running away from it. Walk towards it. Get acquainted with your fears. We did an episode on that, didn't we? Talking about getting acquainted with your fears.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all an illusion. Fear, false evidence appearing real. So how will you know unless you try? So it's like when we say life is like a game, you have to be an active player. You have to be an active participant in order to know what is really real, what's on the other side. You have to, have that courage to face the unknown, the uncertainties. Because sometimes, we want things to be so guaranteed that we'll shy away from anything that's not a guarantee. But it's like when it comes to you making like your personal goals for the direction that you want your life to go, in order for you to, progress and actually see progress, you're going to have to step out there, put yourself out there, do some things that you probably haven't done before. Because that's how life works. Nothing is, we know that uncertainty is certain, but it's like how you look at it. It's reframe or look at the uncertainty in a different way. Like, what is on the other side? What are all the possibilities of me getting to where I actually want to be? But it's like we said, it's like playing that game and having fun with it. Because some of us, it hinders us from wanting to actually go out there and actually live, because we feel like everything is just happening to us instead of happening for us. No, the uncertain things that are happening are actually happening for you in order to build your character, in order for your soul to evolve. And it's like, the people that say, things aren't like how they used to be back in the day. That's because they aren't meant to be how they were back in the day. When you was back in the 1960s, who would have thought that, we would see a time like this? We got AI, all types of things coming into play. You couldn't foresee that. You didn't know how it was going to be. All you knew that as you continue with life, you had to, adjust and adapt to what was going on around you. Just like, with the AI. I know a lot of people, they're not fond of AI, but it's like it's here. So you have to
Right.
how you going to respond with it. Me, I'm going to figure out how I can collab with the AI because it's here. It's inevitable. It's not going to be destroyed. So you have to figure out how to work with these things that come into your life. And for me, it's just like you have to change your mind. You have to look at it from a different lens to actually, see something different and actually want to go towards it instead of, letting that fear take over, because it's only going to hold you, it's only going to keep you stagnant. Um, but the unknown, that's it's gonna continue to be that way. You're gonna continue to have these different cycles. Things are going to constantly change. So you gotta ask yourself, am I willing to show up and actually change? Because sometimes when you actually walk into the unknown and you're facing those fears and you actually get through something, it will empower you to want to do more. Because one thing about it, you can sit there and you can stay stagnant all you want and then complain about you not seeing any change. But it's like, how far are you willing to go? Are you willing to go past your own limits in order to see the life that you want? Because it's one thing to sit up here and complain about it, but it's like the episode we talked about, focusing on a solution. The solutions, they're in the unknown. You just have to meet them. It's like, how some people say, well, I prayed about it, I put it in God's hand. Okay. Now, with that, it takes you having to be an active participant and you have to meet God halfway, right? That's how the unknown works. You go on about your life and you do your part and things start to come together. It's just like a puzzle piece. It's life can be chaotic, but we look at it because we want things to be a straight line and everything has to be so on point, but that's not how life is. Life is chaotic. And out of the chaos, you can find your peace, you can find your balance, but you have to be willing to stand in the storm. It takes tremendous courage to step into it. Because as you keep going, like you got, and it's like we talked about, like there's no one coming to save you. You have to be the hero and the leader in your own story. So you got to figure out how you want to lead it.
That's it. I mean, that's really it. And it's all in the mind. It's all about our mindset, how we're approaching things, and recognizing that we can train ourselves to perceive things however we want. You know what I mean? It's like for myself, I'm I'm a warrior. Like, this is what I tell myself. I look in the mirror, I'm like, go ahead, warrior, you're a warrior. And it's like, and what do warriors do? They slay dragons. That's what I tell myself. And I'm like, now go out, you gotta slay the dragon. You think the warrior is happy when they slay the dragon? No, they're on assignment. They like, this dragon ain't about to burn down my village or whatever the case. You know what I mean? Or stand in my way from me fulfilling my purpose. I don't think so. And really getting to that degree where you're not going to let fear stop you, and recognizing that your victory is on the other side, and it's in the unknown. You know what I mean? You can't see what this battle is going to look like, but you can claim your victory and know that no matter what, that's what I'm walking towards. I don't know what the walk is going to look like. I don't know how it's going to feel, but this is what I'm going towards, and really just owning that for yourself. So that way, that allows you to be able to walk through the fear, because fear shows up. It's a part of life, but it doesn't mean that you can't keep going. You know what I mean? That's something that I'm constantly learning. Fear shows up and it's like, oh, okay, oh Lord, now I got to overcome this fear. And it doesn't mean, oh, I got to do such hard work. It just means I got to keep putting one foot in front of the other, you know, and recognizing that we can always do that. Because it's like, once you get to a point where you feel like you've reached your limit, then, you know, you feel unsafe and uncertain to keep going forward, but you can go another inch. Like, you can. You know what I mean? You know in yourself, I can. I don't know what's out there, but I can stick my toe out a little bit further. And then once you've done that, you've stepped further into the unknown and you've created a new limit. And then you can just keep doing that and keep progressing. So it's really about us recognizing that we can stretch ourselves into the unknown, but we don't have to stress ourselves. It's not about you turning yourself into a nervous wreck, feeling like you got to jump off a cliff and hope God will catch you. I mean, maybe if that's how you want to do it, but you don't have to. That's not the requirement. You know what I mean? It's like, ease yourself into the unknown. Ease yourself through the fear. Hold your own hand as you progress into what you're not sure about. Because in order to get what you never had, you got to do some things you never did. And if you never did it, it's unknown. You don't know. You might be great at it. You might be a natural, but you'll never find that out if you don't try it, if you don't step forward. So it's like, you know, we really have to recognize that with everything, there's a possibility for a positive outcome and a possibility for a negative outcome. And it's all okay. You know what I mean? The world is not going to implode if a negative outcome occurs. And how many negative outcomes have you faced in life? You know what I mean? We've all gone through stuff that was disappointing, hard, difficult. You're well trained. Most of life is unexpected. Or, you know what I mean? We're constantly confronting unknown from the day we're born. We come out of the womb and we're in this weird place. Like, we are, you know what I mean? Kids, that's why they're looking around. Toddlers, they want to touch, taste everything because it's all unknown. But are they scared? No, they're excited. They're ready to put their hand in fire. That's how excited they are. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying go put your hand in fire, but you can approach life with that same sense of curiosity, enthusiasm, and look at it as an adventure. Because if you begin to practice looking at it like that, then it will become that for you. It will become exciting. You know what I mean? Then you're excited to step into the unknown because you're like, oh, wait, this might just be the thing that like makes everything all new, different, knocks my socks off, takes me to a new level. Maybe this is it. You know what I mean? And it really just allows you to enjoy life, which is what this is
Mhm.
all about. Life is supposed to be a pleasurable experience, not a miserable, dreadful one. But it's up to you how you're going to approach it. But you always have the ability to approach it with this sense of enthusiasm, with this sense of excitement, knowing that the unknown can be a fun place.
Yes. And it's essentially about letting go and surrendering to the happenings of life, the unknown. And I'm so glad that you brought up children, because how could I forget? We speak on this all the time, how children are actually a great model for stepping into the unknown. Because you got to think about it. When children come out and they come into this world, they are in their purest form, they're in their true essence. They're vibrant. They like to explore. They're curious. They don't even know what fear is. They don't know what a doubt is. They don't know what a limit is. They will test the waters. That's what children do. And us as adults, the society, the world around them, we take that innocence from them when we impose on them what we think should, be and what shouldn't be. And that's that control aspect. Us wanting that need to control everything because what we think is secure, or we feel like this is safety. But instead of allowing those children to, just explore and see things on their own. Not saying, like stop them if they're doing something that could harm them. We're not saying that, but just in that essence of that curiosity, and that there's no fear, there's no limit. They're curious about it, so they're gonna try to test it out. They may think about it for a second, but they're gonna go for it. That's the same attitude and response you have to have when it comes to the unknown. And some people, it's like, if you know everything that's gonna happen, are you even willing to show up and actually do the work? And sometimes that's what it is, because when it comes to the unknown, that is going to require you to go through doors that you have never explored before. That's going to require you to go into uncharted territory that has not been explored anymore, and that can be scary. But that's what it's going to take. In order for you to know your own boundaries, your own limits, you have to go past them. Otherwise, you will just be stagnant. You will just be in your comfort zone. But you're going to always feel that resistance, because you already know that your soul, your spirit is telling you, like, you need to go this way. But it's like, you're scared, and you're still trying to control it instead of letting it go and allowing whatever is trying to unfold in your life to unfold. And when you get that total acceptance and you say, you know what, I surrender. I don't need to control anything. Yes, whatever is happening in front of me is not ideal for me. It does not feel good. But my concern is, how am I going to show up? Because I know that I want to get through this. All I know is that's the only focus right now, is me getting through this. Whatever I have to go through, whether it's uncomfortable, I accept what it is that I have to go through in order for me to grow and get to the outcome that I want. But you will never know that if you're afraid to actually step out there. So I say, just be like children. You have to get back to that kid in you, and get that child, have that childlike curiosity, because it'll take you a long way. You got to get curious. That's what discovering things are about. You bump into things, you learn by experience, and then you look back at some of the things that you thought that you weren't going to be able to get through, and you say, man, that taught me so much. But it takes you have to have some type of exploration for you to know what works for you and what didn't. And it's like you said, sometimes we get so caught up in the outcome of things, like, I just want everything to go right. Anytime you do anything in life, you're taking a risk, you're taking a chance, you're stepping into the unknown. We can even keep it as basic as relationships. People who want love, or a loving relationship, a healthy relationship, but you're scared to actually go out there and pursue and actually, create one, so that you can have the relationship that you desire. So it's like you want these things, but you're running from it. You're not willing to accept that, I get in a relationship with someone, I may get my heart broke or something. I don't know how it will make it, if it's going to be long term, if it's going to be short term. But if that's what you say you want, then it requires you to step up and say, you know what, regardless of the outcome, I'm a step in this. I'm gonna come in it with courage. I'm gonna put my heart into it. And if it doesn't work out, I'll just go another way. Maybe that just wasn't for me. I'll go a different direction. One door closes, another one opens. You never lose. So even if you think the outcome was bad, that outcome was only solely there to teach you something. It was there to teach you something. It may not have been ideal, but it was an experience. And one thing about life, you're going as you continue to grow and discover new things about yourself, you're gonna keep having more and more experiences. That's how life works. You're gonna have some good, you're gonna have some bad, but each of them are here to teach you something. A lot of things are unknown, but if you want these things, you have to be willing to explore and grow through these things to see what's on the other side. The outcome that you want is not going to always happen, but that's the adventure of life. That's the spontaneity. Everything is supposed to always go your way because you do not have control over anything outside yourself. You don't have that control, so just releasing that need to just have control will help you to, cut through that resistance and allow things to flow, and you'll see that you'll be living life so much freer to the point that you'll have this acceptance that, you know what, this is unknown, this is scary for me, I don't know how it's going to end out, but I'm going to walk through this door and I'm going to do this thing no matter what happens. And then you empower yourself, and then another opportunity may come along and you like, you know what, that last opportunity didn't work out, that's okay, this is what I learned from it. I'm gonna go through this door right here. I don't know what's on the road, on this path that I'm headed now, but I'm gonna go through it, because anything that you go through is going to teach you something, whether it's ideal or not. But just allow it, and having that total acceptance and letting go and surrendering, it'll be a game changer. It'll free your mind. It'll help you to navigate the unknown.
Absolutely. That's for sure. It's like new things, just new in general, is unknown. Old stuff is known. You know what I mean? The old is known and new is unknown. And we all constantly talking about, well, I want to new this, I want to new that, a new job, a new house, a new man, a new phone, whatever. Something new is unknown. You're venturing out into the world, to the store, to whatever it is, to the job interview, these are all aspects of the unknown. The new lies in the unknown. It lies in you venturing out. And so really embracing that truth. What's known to you and what seems certain is what's old and what's been there. So if there's anything that's in your present circumstance that you're not happy with and you want something different, you want a new one, then you got to be willing to step into the unknown and embrace it as such. Recognize that newness exists in the unknown. That means I got to venture out to a new place, to do a new thing, to meet some new people, try some new stuff. And that's how I'm going to get this new thing that I'm looking for, that I'm desiring. You know what I mean? And recognizing that we use these words and they all have certain energy on them, so unknown has this apprehensive, anxious, fearful feeling on it. We don't have to call it that. You can call it something else. You know what I mean? Because I know even for myself, I feel like I'm just looking at everything as it's an opportunity. I'm not even saying, oh, this is unknown. Nope. Today's an opportunity for me to learn something new, explore something new. And it's like, okay, you don't know what's going to happen over here, but it's an opportunity for me to figure it out. An opportunity for me to grow a little bit. An opportunity for me to try something new. Let me say this instead of that. Let's see how it goes. And really be willing to explore. This, back to what you were saying about children, being willing to explore. That's what this is. You're exploring how things could turn out when you try it like this. What happens when you do this? What happens if you touch that? What happens if I stand up and go over here? What happens if I do that? And really being able to explore not only the external world, but yourself. Like, what happens when I put myself in this situation? How do I feel? And I mean, I've learned so many lessons about the unknown. And one of the most profound ones was I was invited. So, I mean, I know that I'm intended to speak and share what's in me, but I don't know what's in me unless I'm letting it out. Like, that's what I'm learning. So it's like, as I'm speaking and sharing, I'm actually learning at the same time more about myself and learning deeper the things that I'm saying, because now I'm hearing them too. You know what I mean? Things look different inside yourself than they do when you release them out. That's why it's important to have conversations. But so one situation, I had been invited. I may have shared this story on another episode, but I'm not sure or not. But I was invited to this poetry festival to read some poetry. I practiced my poem, and I get to the poetry festival and I like totally drew a blank. I could not remember the poem. So I just like kept going, like freestyling it. And it was like at the end of it, I was so in awe because I'm like, nobody could tell that I was just going off a stream of consciousness and I didn't know what I was saying. It was just coming out of me because all my requirement was I had to be willing. You know what I mean? And from that situation, God told me, I speak through you. Like, you don't got to worry about what to say. You just got to be brave enough to stand up there and open your mouth. And it was like, oh, snap. Like, a lot of time that's scary. You know what I mean? Before I show up, or like before we do the podcast, before I post my videos, and before, I do other appearances, I'm nervous. I'm scared. I'm like, all right, God, it's all you. Speak through me. I surrender. Because I don't know what's about to happen. But when I stand up and I'm willing to face the fear of not knowing what I'm going to say, the possibility I might say something wrong, or I might forget what I was planning to say, when I face that fear, it's an invitation for like the divine flow. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's really what this is about. Recognizing that we all have a purpose, we all have a gift. And in that gift, we're in our natural element. You can practice your gift to get better and improve. But it's like if you're a natural artist or a painter, when you start doing it, it just flows out of you. It's part of the divine. It's not about you having to like sharpen your skills so much. You can improve. Don't get me wrong. Practice is a good thing. However, there's this divine connection that's at play. It's up to us to be willing to step into that unknown and face the fear so that the divine and God takes over. So that God is like, all right, this is where I show up in you. This is your essence just flowing freely from you. And so, I'm consistently practicing that with myself, stepping into the unknown. As, even as we do this podcast, I'm learning it's not about too much preparation. Granted, I always do some preparation, but it's not about over preparing. It's about leaving the room for like the flow to occur. You know what I mean? Just showing up and allowing yourself to experience the experience, and for yourself to be surprised. For yourself to be like, wow, that went so great, because you're not holding on so tight to some expectation that you've concocted in your mind. And ultimately, these ideas that we have, the expectations that we form, the things that we think are the best possible outcome, those are just things we're making up. That we live in, a universe of infinite possibilities. You don't know that one way that you think is supposed to go is actually the best way. And when we hold too tight to those expectations, we close ourselves off to the better possibilities that do exist. You know what I mean? It's like, just let go and let God show up and make it better.
Yeah. But you said something so powerful. You said you have to have the willingness to show up. And I think that's so profound when it comes to, stepping into the unknown, because you have to have this level of openness. You have to be completely open, even when the fear is present. Like you said, the fear is inevitable. We're going to feel fear all throughout life. But when you have that willingness to say, you know what, I'm a little scared. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I'm gonna do this thing anyway. And it's like you said, when you went up there to the poetry slam, and you just allowed yourself to flow. You messed up, but you kept on going, and nobody else noticed it. You was right there in the midst, living, breathing, actively in the unknown, and look at how things flowed. But and another thing, when it comes to the unknown, it requires you to trust in yourself. It requires you to have total trust in yourself. Like, not just believing in yourself, but just knowing that whatever you're going through, you're gonna get through it. You have to have that inner knowing. So that's what it means by you going within yourself. That's why it's called a discovery within. You have to know yourself. You don't have to know all the answers. Because sometimes when you know all the answers, you think you got it made and you don't really put in the necessary steps, the work that you need, because you think, oh, I got it. I know everything. Everything is handed to me, when in fact you don't know how it's gonna go. Life is very chaotic, it's very spontaneous. Things can shake up at any minute. And sometimes you just have to flow, because sometimes we hop on here, we may have connection problem. One of us may drop off, but the show must go on. And you have to just step in there. And I'm telling you, that's when life really tests you, and you have to go with the flow. And it's like, all right, this is your time to shine. You better go. Are you gonna sink or are you gonna swim? Right. You gotta ask yourself. You don't want to sink, well, you better get to swim. You better figure that thing out. But it's so exciting when you have that openness and that willingness, because like you said, it doesn't matter. This applies to anything that you have going on in life. And I feel like with some people, what has them a little more apprehensive about stepping into the unknown is their past experiences. Just like even when it comes to things like starting a new job, or if you want to have a new romantic relationship, we're thinking about what didn't go right in the past. Oh, it was just the worst thing happened to me. I had the worst experience. But it's like, that's because you're still living in the past. This is the present. This is the right now. And the right now is constantly moving forward. And you can't take what had happened into your newness. Because it's like we said, you say you want these good outcomes. You want something great. Say you do want a better job. You do want a better romantic relationship. Well, that means you're going to have to take a step into the unknown, because anytime you start something new, that's a new opportunity. You're putting yourself at risk. You don't know what the outcome is going to be. But instead of looking at your past as something that was just so terrible, you have to take, okay, what did I learn from this? What signs do I need to pay attention to? Think about all the things that it taught you, so that you will know, like, once you're actually stepping into the unknown, when you see certain things, you know which way to pivot. You know which way to go. You know whether to stay or you know whether to leave. So it's not a lose situation. You're not losing anything, because we don't want to do things because we think we're gonna lose out on something. We're gonna waste our time. There's no such thing as wasting your time. As long as whatever you go through, whatever experience you have, as long as it taught you something and you didn't repeat those cycles and you carried on the lessons that you had from those experiences, that's here to help you to grow personally and to help your soul evolve. So now when you're stepping out into the unknown, you're not even thinking about the outcome. But of course you want to win now. Of course you want to win, but sometimes it's not always that. It's not always going to be the way that you thought it is. But instead of looking at it as a loss, as something like, I knew I shouldn't have did this. No, look at that thing and say, okay, now what is this teaching me? What did I learn from this experience? Because it's an experience. And experiences don't last forever. Nothing lasts forever. Life is constantly growing, evolving, changing. And that's how you operate as a human being, as a soul on this earth. Things are going to keep constantly changing. So you don't really have to fear the unknown when you accept that things could go either way. And that's just how life works. It's a thing of duality. It's not about good or bad, because we know we need both. They both exist. This could go either way. But when you have that willingness to do it, to show up anyway, you're not even thinking about the outcome. You're thinking about the experience, because you're in the now. You're in the moment. And any outcome, you're okay with it. You're fine with any outcome that comes, because you know that if this doesn't work for me, I know that there's something else out there that is going to work. And you have to have that knowing. That'll keep you going whenever you're facing the unknown. So it's just the beauty of it. It's just accepting life as it is and knowing it's inevitable. Some things may go the way you want, some things are not. But when you surrender and you let go of your need to control everything, of controlling the outcome, you open yourself up to all the possibilities. And there's many possibilities. Anything could happen. While you sitting up here in your negative mindset thinking that things could go wrong, who knows what'll happen once you step over that fear and you do it anyway. Even if you fall hard, you fall flat on your face, you get back up and you laugh it off. Because I know for me, and the experiences I went through, we all go through tough experiences, but me looking back at some of the things I went through, the things I didn't think I would come through, the things I know I didn't want to go through again, I still put myself out there. And some people look at that and they're like, wow, like, no, it takes work. It takes work. And I think what it is a lot of people run from the work because stepping into the unknown requires you to do the work. And the majority of that work is going to require you to do work within. And a lot of people just aren't at that place where they want to face themselves and actually do the work and go through the shadows and go through the darkness. But it's like, how you gonna get to the light if you don't go through the darkness? How you gonna find peace if you don't first get through the chaos? It's all necessary. So just learn to embrace it. The unknown is all types of possibilities, all types of things out there. You just have to accept it.
Absolutely.
But that's how I feel on it because I know we don't reach our time. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add before we close out.
Yes. All right. Let me just make a quick closing point. So the first thing I want to say is that learning in and of itself, learning something is stepping into the unknown. It's like we're kids, we go to school, you're learning something, they're teaching you something you don't know. So if we look at the unknown and really simplify it to that degree, you recognize that, oh, okay, every time I learn something new, when I'm having a conversation and hearing something new, that's the unknown. When I hear a new perspective, that was unknown to me a moment ago. So this is this constant progression of stepping into the unknown. Like, it don't got to be that complicated. It's very simple. You tried a new recipe, you stepped into the unknown, like you don't know how it's going to turn out. You reading a new book, you're going into the unknown, you've never been there before. So like we can really just begin to allow ourselves to step into the unknown in these simple ways so that we could practice getting excited about it. Practice not overcomplicating it and not overwhelming ourselves with fear, because we're constantly stepping into the unknown in different ways. You know what I mean? You get into your car to go drive somewhere. It's unknown. You don't know you're about to hit traffic. You don't know there's an accident up there. It's all these things that are part of the unknown, and that is for us to really recognize, like, it's all okay. And the second thing, because I know I always got a lot to say, but let me give this final point that I believe will be very helpful to our viewers, because it's extremely helpful to me, is that the best is yet to come. Like, remind yourself of that. The best is yet to come. So if you're going to go out and embrace the best part of your life, you can step into whatever you're facing with this sense of excitement and enthusiasm, because it's like, maybe this is it. Is this it? The best is yet to come. The best part of my life is yet to come. I'm trying something new. Is that it? Is that it? And really begin to have this sense of adventure, recognizing that, yeah, the best part of your life is still out there waiting for you to go towards it, to step into it. So be excited about what's coming next, because it might just be that best part that you've been waiting for and hoping for. So put that in your pocket and pull it out when you need it, because it's very helpful.
Their willingness. And on that note, whether you just started on your journey or you've been on your journey for a while, know that there's always room for more growth and self-discovery. So until next time, y'all. Let's see y'all.
Yes, peace.